Surely someone in Sacramento City on March 7th, 1852, probably a lot of somebodies were saying that did not work out too well, and by that they would have been referring to the levees, which were built 3 years earlier after the first floods that hit the city. The levees were modest, 3 to 6 feet. They were not enough to hold the water back in 1852 on that weekend. Very heavy rains broke the levee right at the confluence of the American and Sacramento Rivers and started filling the city. Now you would be right to say, I do not see an American river, only the Sacramento. Well, the river has been moved, part of the city's long history with floods. And later on, the city would move the mouth of the American River almost a mile upriver to keep it out of the city out of flood danger. The levee was breached at 1 in the morning, March 7th. By 2 in the morning, the mayor and the city officials had rallied citizens to throw timber and hay and bags of barley and dirt into the breach, and it did not work. The water trickled in. The mayor rallied citizens to come right about here where I and 2nd Street meet to shore up the embankment against the American River. It worked, except then they found that the embankment, the levee, had failed at I and 7th Street and began inundating the city further east. The city was able to raise alarms when the levee was breached, and people were able to move their belongings, and because of that, no one passed away in the floods. The Daily Union newspaper said that the flood was not quite as bad as the 1850 flood, but the city was described as a vast unbroken sea with the blocks like islands in that sea. Most of the city was in a few inches of water. Some parts, low spots, were as much as 12 feet underwater. The first edition of the Daily Union following the flood, Sam Brannan, the gold rush entrepreneur, California's first millionaire, whose influence strongly suggested putting the city here, he offered rooms to 20 to 30 families somewhere on the 2nd or 3rd floor of his properties here on Front Street for anybody who was stuck on the 1st floor in the mud. 2 days after the flood, the mayor, James Hardenbaugh, called for higher levies, and he got agreement from the Common Council, the name for the city government at the time. They cobbled together $50,000, completed that new levee, about 10 feet high, in November 1852, just in time for a part of the levee to be breached by yet another flood, December 19th, 1852. Eventually the city got it ever higher. It's now about 23 feet, so the distance from me to you, following the 1861-62 flood, part of that plan to lift the central business district and move the American River out of the harm of the city.